slowly but surely.
So you're saying you're a work in process?
Yeah.
Oh, the shirt you're talking about. I see, I see.
Hi there. I have recently, hopefully as you can see by what I'm wearing, finished my very first knitted garment. And while I'm fairly new to knitting, I'm a much more experienced artist. So I thought instead of talking about the specifics of this knitted garment, I would talk about the kind of the similarities and what I have learned from both knitting and creating art. But first, in case you're new around here and wondering who I am, here's a quick introduction.
Hello, all. My name is Stacy, and I am the artist behind Studio Stacy, which means you can find me in my studio most days painting with wax and a torch. I also have a passion for nature and enjoy living a simple life here in beautiful West Virginia with my husband, Matt. I've recently fallen in love with knitting and crocheting, which is what this video is all about. So if any of this sounds like your cup of tea, consider subscribing. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy today's video.
All right, so first let's start off with what knitting and art both have in common, or what I feel like they both have in common. And I may be looking down from time to time as I have typed up some kind of key points here. So if you see me looking down, that's why. Creativity and self-expression. Both knitting and art allows you to express your unique style. Knitters can choose from a variety of yarns, stitches, techniques, knitting needles, all of which can help express their personal style. Just like artists can choose from a variety of paint colors, painting techniques, brushes, and specific subjects to paint, all of which can express their unique style. And while I chose this particular knitted pattern because it was a beginner-friendly pattern, I chose the colors of yarn to express myself. I didn't want to do just one solid color because that's just not quite me. Up next, aesthetic beauty. I think both knitting and art can really create stunning pieces, right? We all know art is quite beautiful, but so are knitted garments. And knitted pieces themselves. They're absolutely beautiful and stunning. And I have a very long list of knitted garments that I want to create because I just find them absolutely gorgeous, and I can't really wait to cast on the next thing. Technical skill and mastery. Both art and knitting require lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of practice. Whether you're trying to create the perfect paint stroke or the perfect knit stitch, it all requires lots of practice, lots of patience. And I know I didn't just pick up a paintbrush and automatically start painting a beautiful scene. I did a lot of sketching prior to, and most knitters start out knitting washcloths and things like that before they actually knit a garment or anything wearable. Artists infuse their work with a variety of emotions. And knitters similarly pour themselves into an entire piece or an entire garment. All of their emotions go into that. The act of knitting and creating art can both be a way to express your emotions and de-stress, a way to kind of lose yourself in the piece. And one of the last similarities that I thought of, although it's probably not the last but not least similarity, I should say, has to do with community. While you can do a simple search online for knitting groups or artist groups, you're going to come up with hundreds and thousands of both. And while you may sit and knit your garment by yourself in your house or living room, and you might create a painting or a piece of pottery or sketch by yourself alone in your studio or on your kitchen table. Community is really important, I have found, to both knitters and artists. We love bouncing ideas off of each other, learning different techniques from each other, and of course, just showing off our work to each other. All right, moving on to the second half of this video, and that is about the 5 things that both knitting and art has taught me. Patience and perseverance. I think this is the number one thing that both art forms have taught me. I have painted over many colors and many layers of paintings. Also scraped back several layers and mistakes in countless amount of paintings, and have also put quite a few paintings into timeout while I need to take a step back from them, think about what else is needed, what doesn't need. They just need to go in timeout while I think about what is needed next. Patience and perseverance. And while I've only knit one garment, I have knit several pairs of socks. But this has also taught me lots of patience and perseverance, as I have ripped back the entire sweater. I can't tell you how many times I started this, over maybe 3 times. I've also tinked back rows, and I've put in 2 lifelines into this sweater just in case. Patience and perseverance. Number 2, mistakes can be happy accidents. Letting go of perfection here in both knitting and art. I often refer to the beginning of a painting as a big old hot mess. Normally I put on several layers of paint, and while one color might not work with another color, one mark, it looks like a huge mistake, one paintbrush stroke just really looks out of place, it can look like a big old mess. But in the end, perhaps that one color just poking through ties it all together, or that one mark reflects an emotion, or that one paint stroke just makes the entire painting. Letting go of imperfections and just continuing on. And in knitting, while a few wonky stitches might not look correct, sometimes you can fix those stitches and they turn into something, perhaps a little design element that's just an added little touch. It just makes the whole sweater, and it's a little kind of happy surprise mistake. Number 3, there's always room to learn and grow. And again, I'm a relatively new knitter, but after having several conversations with more experienced knitters, listening to countless of knitting podcasts while I knitted this t-shirt, I know that knitters are constantly kind of learning new techniques, experimenting on new stitches. Maybe perhaps they're getting new yarn in, learning about new types of yarn. It's just constantly learning, and I don't think you'll probably ever run out of things to learn about with either art form. And in art, I know that I am just constantly finding new things, new techniques, just talking to other artists, talking to all of you. I love when all of you drop something down in the comments about a particular painting, or hey, this worked for you, or this didn't work for you. All of these things, just a constant evolution of learning, adds to each and every piece. And it also, you're never bored with it, right? When you're constantly learning, you can't possibly get bored. Number 4, you can't rush. When I started this knitted tee, I think I started it, I don't even know how many months ago. Sometime over the winter I started it. It's been a while. When I started it, I thought for sure it would be ready for me to wear in the spring. It was not. As you can tell, I just barely finished it. You can't rush this. And just like the painting process, there are so many steps to take before you can actually even start knitting the thing or creating the painting. In knitting, you have to swatch. In painting, you sketch. In knitting, you take measurements. In painting, you prep your surface. In knitting, you do a lot of calculations. And in painting, you experiment with various techniques. And all of this prep work can take days, weeks, maybe even months for some of you, like myself. But you can't rush through one step or the next step, because then the next step might not work out. So don't rush, just enjoy it. All right, and the fifth and final thing that I've come up with as to how knitting and creating art are very, very similar is process over product. The simple act of creating with your hands is absolutely amazing to me. The joy that you feel when the yarn just glides off the needle, or when your paintbrush glides onto the surface. You can't comprehend that until you actually do it, right? It's absolutely amazing to me, this whole process of creating. There's just really no better feeling. The act of one pen mark or the act of one stitch, it forces you to slow down and it forces you to concentrate on that one thing, that one feeling that perhaps you're having when doing that one small act. It's this act of creating that I find the most enjoyable over the actual finished object. And of course, it's nice to have a finished sweater, finished paintings. They're beautiful, right? You're proud of that end product. But really, what I will remember, what I will talk about, what I will tell people about is the act of making it. The colors that I use, that little tiny stroke, or oh, I messed up here, or look how nice this came out. I'm so happy that, I did this one stitch that I just learned about or just figured out. It's the act of the actual making that I am just so excited about in both painting and knitting. The process over the product. All right, in closing, knitting and art are both so much more than making beautiful things. They're about lessons taught, resilience, joy, community, and so much more. I really do hope you enjoyed coming along on this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're not already. And if you have any thoughts, if you're both a knitter and an artist, or if you're just one or the other, I would love to know perhaps a number one thing that either one has taught you, or if you think they're similar in a certain way, or not similar perhaps. Maybe you have a different opinion on how they're different. I would love to know. Let me know down there below in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again, guys. Bye.